Welcome again to the podcast in this new year 2023, and I thought the best way to start this year is to make it more personal before starting to meet more guests and talking about education and conscious learning and being. And just like everybody else at the end of a year and the beginning of a new year, we just sit and reflect. And I was thinking that Welcome back to Orbits Consulting. My name is Manal Zainuddin. This podcast highlights education communities from macro and micro angles, leadership, learning, personal and professional growth across multiple disciplines. Education is holistic and as vast and infinite as the cosmos. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. I am just like everyone else, born into this world with all the ebbs and flows that you experience every day. And I think there is a need now more than ever to talk about the changes occurring in the world. These changes have started a long time ago and started showing themselves to us a few years ago. From my experience, I started in 2012, 2013, to ask deeper questions, deeper than the ones I used to ask before when I was a teacher and then a head of department between the years 2007 and 2010. That was the time when I had to ask myself questions while watching all the rules we were enforcing on middle and high school learners and teachers. I was a teacher myself, so we were teaching the American and British systems of education, and it is the same way with any other system of education in the world. But that was also the same period of time when I had my two children and more questions were being uncovered. And I say uncovered because to me, those questions were always there. They just showed themselves very smoothly as if they were always there. Since I was a child, I was asking myself, why are we here? And where is the beginning and the end of this world? And what are we doing in our lives? Are we here just to eat, drink, sleep, play, work, see all this world of children and adults doing whatever they're doing? I asked myself, what is true and what is not? What kind of reality is this? They were endless questions. So in 2012 and 2013, I started researching, I started observing and monitoring, analyzing all types of information from my small world, because it was a small world, and from around the globe. I was reading, I was listening to radio shows, I was watching videos, I was watching movies, I was doing all types of research and collection of information until in 2019 I made a decision. And I say I had the courage to make a decision of a lifetime. I never thought I would ever do it in my life. I resigned from my position as a director and I had to face all the consequences of such a decision. It was a drastically tough decision for myself because not only I was leaving the place I always loved. I always loved to go to school early in the morning, whether I was a teacher or whether I was a student and then a teacher and then a head of department and then a director. I always went to school with this open heart and sheer excitement to explore what's there during the day, despite all the challenges which I faced and which we all know about. But it was a tough decision for me as well because I had to risk also other conditions that were very important in my life. And I felt the urge to speak about this experience. Whether it's 1 or 22, I think experiences always mean a lot to a person. Then COVID struck and it was an eye-opening period of time to me as I was watching myself and watching the world how the world is reacting, what we are thinking, how we are feeling, I knew deep down that it was more than a pandemic. It was a hidden divine plan to make us stop and think, to make us reflect on everything, every single part of our lives. For me, I had been doing so much of that thinking, but I still had to do more and watch the world do more. And that was eye-opening and exciting at the same time. And all the pain of lockdown and isolations, the global fear that was instilled on people, and all that compilation of all those restrictions, it was nothing compared to other matters to me. Where are we going and where am I going? And because during this time I was digging deep into the rabbit hole of my soul, I was uncovering shadows and shadows, layers and layers of old memories, of past experiences. I started to relate and connect old patterns, and as I did that, I realized how much we all need to do that. Every one of us needs to do that. Enough of illusions, enough of suffering, enough of this self-torture. And I say self-torture because we do not dare to talk about certain matters in front of other people. Well, we put ourselves under this restriction of hiding this truth within us, and we say, well, if I talk, what would happen? I think now we need to wake up. And that put me most of the time in a state of stagnation because I was also afraid. At other times, it was a hibernation mode, between quotations, being still, taking this time to process all the thoughts coming, all the emotions, patterns inside of me and outside of me, sometimes realizing that there was an outlet, and at other times realizing that there was just a dark road in front of me, and we had to keep walking without any light, without any lamp lighting our way. And this, I think, will always happen as long as we are alive, because we are always exploring life. There will always be dark roads, and we have to take, whether we like it or not. We have to dig into the uncertainty and find where it leads us. But now that we are starting this new year, I think it's time to get out of this silent mode, and I thought that I have to continue what I started. Some of you have joined my journey through the podcast or the videos or the resources and understand probably what I mean. And the new ones are surely welcome to join this journey, and we can share our experiences together. But I think this year, this overall energy in our world is changing. And I think that there is a glimmer of hope, and it all lies in making choices. So what do we choose? We can choose to bring ourselves out of the labyrinth and speak our truth and face our fears, and not hesitate about talking about our fears and vulnerabilities. We can choose integrity and honesty and speak about them in a nice way to the right people, if we are able to find the right people, because sometimes we don't know who will accept our message and who will not. Now, many of the people will not understand, may not understand, but few others will. I speak, you speak, we all speak. This year can be great, I think, if we define what we want, if we put certain plans. Although we always need to keep in mind that plans may change at any moment, and this is how life is. Setting goals is, or maybe a jargon at the beginning of every new year, because some goals are forgotten in the second month, and they remain to be part of the future. They are never achieved. We all have been in this scenario. That's where intentions, I guess, fall in place. How we feel at the moment about the certain action that we want to take, and how it affects our choices. Intentions, I think, are not goals. Goals are the outcomes that we desire and plan to see, but they are not enough to put us into this type of action with this passion mode. Intentions are what fuel us to move forward, even with very small steps. They are our inner voice. They are the words that anchor us day by day, every day, pushing us forward. taking those tiny steps. They are the solid commitment that goals cannot always cement. Despite all our excitement and determination and grit. For example, if we say, today I will do this, today I will show this, today I will say this, or this week I will do this week I will finish this in this form, this week I will take this step. But one question remains, can we be up to all this in this new year? Whether we are leaders, whether we are teachers, whether we are parents, whether we are just people doing any type of work, it does not matter, because this podcast is about conscious learning and being, and although it comes from the core of education and families, I still think that we all need to think in the same direction, and because we are all in the same boat. From my side, it will not be easy to make choices and to set certain intentions and goals and stick to them. Why? Because I have to be honest, we are all humans, and there are some factors that come out when we do not expect, and sometimes this may hinder or maybe try to put us down. But we have to make a choice whether we like it or not, and the choice is either yes or a no. We are selecting. You have to select one out of the two. And here I think it has to be growth above everything else. Growth so that we commit ourselves to do what is right despite all odds, so that we can face our biggest fears and doubts, so that we can take some steps, some courageous steps, the steps that we would never take. We can open doors that we thought would never open. We can rejoice with our loved ones. We can show care to our communities. And I think the most important thing is to choose to dream. Dream big, think big, act big, whatever that is. So ending with the open-ended question for all of us to ponder. What areas are we willing to probe into? What areas are we willing to discover in ourselves so that we push ourselves forward during this new year?